So another area of difference between musicals and plays. I sat right where you guys are about 20 years ago when I first moved to LA and listened to John Sparks give the opening lecture for the core curriculum weekend. And one of the things that he said was that characters in musicals are transparent. And I remember when I heard him say that, I really wasn't quite sure what he meant. I don't know exactly what he meant by, or at the time, I didn't know what he meant by transparent, and I also didn't know why, for example, a character in a play isn't also transparent. What's the difference? Over the years, I've realized what he meant by that and the great truth that is behind it. And it is all wrapped up in that fact that when someone sings, we see inside of them in a way that you just don't in a play. We get right inside their heads. The closest thing that happens in a play usually is a monologue where someone is speaking their thoughts. But the idea of a character standing on stage like in Shakespeare and just spouting out a monologue to themselves when no one else is around has pretty much gone out of fashion in playwriting. So you rarely will find something like that in playwriting anymore. So you don't get the opportunity to really get inside a character's head, but in a musical you do. So what that led me to, that understanding of what John meant by the transparency, the fact that we know what's going on inside of a character because of the songs, also led me to react to something else that John used to say, which is that in a musical, characters can keep secrets from each other, but they should not keep secrets from the audience. Now again, the first time I heard John say that, I sort of quietly from the back of the room sort of disagreed with him and thought, what are you talking about? Secrets are awesome. I love detective stories and suspense things, and I watch all the procedurals, and I love all that kind of stuff. Suspense is great, and that big aha moment when you find out what's really going on is awesome. So what on earth was John talking about? But over the years, again, I got a little older, a little wiser, and I now 100% agree with John, and I'll tell you why. In a nutshell, because that single aha moment that happens when you finally find out what you didn't know, to me, is not worth the trade-off of the 2 hours that led up to that when nobody knew what the stakes were. And so there's no tension and there's no conflict because we don't know what we don't know. So we can't be upset about it. So I always encourage people to think about what you gain if you trade that aha moment at the end of the show for a whole show of having your audience at the edge of their seats because they know something that one of the character knows but the others don't. That really, really increases the tension. To give you an example of that, I want to compare the movie The Sixth Sense to the musical Dear Evan Hansen. No spoiler for Sixth Sense if for some bizarre reason you haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to do a spoiler for that. But the fact is, the first time that you go to see it and you don't know the big secret, that big aha moment is awesome. It's, it just blows your mind and you find yourself looking back at the whole movie trying to think, oh, I guess that meant, oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. So it's pretty cool. But the question I would posit is, could you take that story and make it a musical? And I think the answer is no. Why? Because in order to keep that secret from the audience, the characters cannot sing their truths. They can't, because as soon as they sing their truth, we'll know the secret will be out. And if they can't sing their truth, what the hell are they singing? Why would we care? So also the other thing about that is once the secret is out, nobody ever gets that aha moment again. So nobody who saw that movie after the first couple of weeks ever gets that aha moment anyway. So what were you investing all that time and effort in? In fact, I personally, I didn't get a chance to see The Sixth Sense when it first came out. And of course I knew there was a big secret. There was a lot of buzz about it, that there was this big secret you weren't supposed to know. And so I desperately tried not to talk to anybody about it, not to look at the newspaper. And then the day that I had tickets to go see the show that evening, I glanced at a newspaper and the sentence that jumped into my face told me the secret in one sentence. And I was like, oh man. And it ruined the movie for me because I was watching it. I enjoyed the movie, but I was watching it in a very different way than anybody would who didn't know what was coming because I was looking for all the clues and everything. So how does that compare to Dear Evan Hansen? There will be a bit of a spoiler alert here, but the important thing to know is it's not a spoiler alert because Dear Evan Hansen doesn't try to keep it a secret from the audience. So for those of you who maybe don't know the show, just a quick précis. Evan is a high school student. His therapist tells him to write letters to himself in order to deal with his anxiety. And then at school, a guy by the name of Connor, who happens to be the brother of the gal that Evan has a crush on, finds one of these letters and thinks that Evan is making fun of him through the letter, and so he grabs the letter and storms off. Later, Connor commits suicide, and the letter is found on him. And of course, the letter starts, "Dear Evan Hansen," so everyone thinks that it was written to Evan from Connor, and Evan is, initially, he's going to say, no, that's not what it was, he just had, but he doesn't. Instead, he lets them believe it's true, and he takes it a step further. He fabricates this whole lie that he and Connor were really good friends, which is absolutely not true. And that lie spins out of control for the rest of the show. It just spins and spins and spins, and he gets in deeper and deeper and deeper until he finally does have to confess and deal with the consequences of the fact that he has lied and how that's going to destroy some relationships that he's built. But imagine for a moment how different it would be if the writers of Dear Evan Hansen had decided to keep us in the dark, the same way the characters are, if we didn't know that Evan was lying. Imagine how different that would be. Because we would have a big aha moment when the family does, when everybody else does at the moment that he finally confesses, we'd get a big aha moment. But for the whole show, we would not have been on the edge of our seats thinking, oh my God, he's getting in deeper, what is he doing? They're gonna find out, is this when they're gonna, oh my God, what's gonna happen? We spend the whole show like that. If we didn't know, we'd spend the whole show going, oh, how interesting, he has this friend who committed suicide and he's, starting a social media campaign for him, isn't he sweet? And then we go, oh my God, and everything would be, become different. But think of all the, I would say if you are interested in writing a show that has a secret in it and you're just desperate, you think, oh, that aha moment is really worth it, go ahead. But good luck in getting your audience to stay past intermission, because there may not be enough tension in the show to keep them there. So all of that I've been yakking about for a while is all about story, and there's a lot more to talk about, of course, but that's sort of an overview about how we feel about story here.